Now, the Electoral Commission says it intends to declare results of the 2020 election 24 hours after voting. According to the EC, this election will go down in history as the best compared to previous ones held. Speaking at a national dialogue on peaceful election in Accra, Director of Electoral Services at the EC, Dr. Srebo said this year almost all election materials are in the regions more than 2 weeks to the December polls. There's more in the following report.
The colloquium was to consider lessons learned from previous elections to ensure the 2020 election is peaceful. In setting the tone for the conversation, the Executive Director of CDD Ghana, Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, highlighted some red flags which could negatively impact the peacefulness of the polls.
What really is on our minds mostly when we talk about election peace and security, the issue of political vigilantism, which has been a matter that has come to the fore certainly since the 2008 elections, but even before that. But I think has grown and gained greater national notoriety since the 2016 elections. I think it began to emerge soon after the elections in a number of post-election incidents, as well as during the transition between the two parties. But I think it reached its lowest ebb with the events surrounding the Ayawaso West Wagon by-election.
Superintendent Henry Ayisi Mensah, who represented the IGP, assured a number of measures have been instituted to avert some of the lapses identified in previous elections.
As the lead internal security organization and the chair of the National Election Security Task Force, we acknowledge the fact that the stakes are high in terms of security. So a number of pragmatic measures have been put in place towards the forthcoming election before, during, and after. We have conducted a very comprehensive threat assessment, and we've identified quite a number of issues that we think can have a negative impact on the forthcoming elections.
Member of the UN mediation team, Emmanuel Bombande, was however of the opinion the plans and laws alone will not suffice.
I am committed to non-violence in the elections rather than there is a law on vigilance. The two are different. So when you say the law on vigilantism will deal with you on a political platform, you are transferring responsibility for somebody else to do something. And you enumerated the difficulties about that. But when you begin with I, for example, I sitting here, I'm committed to non-violence. That is me. Before then we talk about anything else, it makes a difference. I wish there could be the type of support for our Peace Council to engage in the inter-party dialogue. For example, not all what you cannot do, but I know they are working with our think tanks and civil society. I know, for example, a lot of this has happened already with CDD Ghana across the region.
The Electoral Commission on its part says it remains ready to deliver on its mandate.
We are sure that the parties are also involved, and it's like all things being equal, by the next day, before we go to bed, we'll have declared the results. So our plan is that we want to declare results on the 8th of December. That's why I said that this year's election is going to be the best, because we are putting in place all the planning that it needs, and we are getting all the support that we need. All the logistics have been put in place. The regions and the districts have been asked to submit what they will need to make our dream of declaring the results the next day a reality.
Chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Ernest Edujimfi, highlighted the challenge of religious leaders making pronouncements which could spark conflict.
Well, we are all worried about the ministers who give prophecies and things concerning election. Our appeal to them is that as much as possible, we believe that prophecy still exists, that we need to exercise wisdom in speaking out some of these things so that we don't create unnecessary tension in our country. From the angle of the Peace Council, because of our representation on the council with the various heads of religious organizations, we are seeking to use our members to appeal to their people to do the best they can to tone down some of these things.
There was a call for the naming and shaming of media houses which incite violence and spread misinformation.
While speaking to Mama Owusu Boaje earlier on the AM show today, Dr. Sripo Kwaku clarified his point about the EC's intention to declare results of the election 24 hours after voting ends.
Everything that you want to achieve in this life, you set a plan and prepare for it. So that is a target we have set for ourselves, and we've tasked all our officials to work towards it. So we are expecting that before we go to bed on the 7th, the districts and constituencies should have completed their work. And when that is done, by mid the 8th of December, the information should be hitting the head office. And one thing that we have introduced for the 2020 election, which is captured in CI 127, is that we also do regional collation. So instead of head office doing collation of 275 results, we will do 16 results. So the regions will do their collation, and the region will bring the 16 results. So regional head office will collate 16 results. So all things being equal, we are hoping that before we go to bed on the 8th of December, we will come out with the presidential results. Okay. After parliamentary, they are declared at the constituency levels.
So what kind of transmission system are we using?
We will use the manual transmission. The police stations will submit the results to the constituency. The constituency will send the results to the region, and the region will fax the results to us.
So unlike the 2016 elections, where I thought we used the two.
No, we use only the manual.
Okay. But I know that there are some remote areas where getting even materials there takes days. So how do we intend getting the result that quickly if we're using manual?
In the constituencies, they either use motorbikes, they use boats or canoes, they use abuboya, whatever. So each district has his or her own, officer has his own plan. You will know the terrain, what you need to help you achieve that target. So they are submitted their requests in terms of logistics, and we are working on that.
Okay.
Now, there have been a lot of concerns about spoiled ballots in our elections. Here's what Director of Electoral Services had to say to voters.
This ballot paper is the most well-thought, planned one. In between the candidates, you have huge thick lines, so that no matter how your hand will be shaken, you will not stray into the next center. The only difference is that will be a bit taller than what we are used to. And I believe we will be able to reduce the problem of rejected ballots. But we should also bear in mind that we shouldn't attribute all rejected ballots to ignorance. Some are from a form of protest. Some too have taken from 2 or 3 candidates, taken oath or had sworn to something. And once I've taken from 2 or 3 candidates, I have to give my vote so that I'm not caught by the gods. So some of them are not because they are ignorant. Some other they are protesting. Either they have taken something and they will have to satisfy all of them, or they come for the other ones, maybe ignorance.
So what constitutes a rejected ballot?
A rejected ballot is the ballot which you say that you cannot assign it to a particular candidate. One of it will be that it doesn't bear the marks of the commission, which may mean that somebody smuggled it from somewhere. One of it is that the person did not make a choice at all. He took the ballot paper and just put it in the ballot box. The other one will be that the person competed for more than one candidate. Another point is that the person has put it at the borderline. So you cannot say it is for candidate A or candidate B. So these are the reasons why we reject. And the other one is that you are not supposed to be identified with your ballot paper. So if you go and thumbprint and write Sribo or Kwiku on it, it should also be rejected.
Okay.